Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're diving into another terrifying tale of urban exploration. The year is 2004 and our story unfolds in Chicago, a bustling metropolis known as the Windy City. Our protagonist, David Miller, is a 23-year-old full of life, dreams, and a passion for exploring the concrete jungle. On this particular night, David finds himself alone, far from home, missing his last train and facing the daunting prospect of a walk back. With public transport paralyzed by a strike, the city seems like a labyrinth, its vastness emphasized by the eerie quiet of a Chicago night devoid of traffic. As fate would have it, David spots a flickering light in the distance, a beacon of hope in the sea of darkness, a lone bus rumbling towards him. As it draws closer, the sight is both intriguing and unsettling. It's an old, massive green double-decker bus, a relic from another era. Its appearance both mystifies and worries him. Despite the chill in the air, David decides to board. Maybe, just maybe, he could get home after all. As he steps onto the bus, he's hit by a wave of stale air thick with the smell of rust and damp earth. Inside, it's dimly lit with flickering fluorescent lights casting long shadows. Most of the passengers are asleep, lost in a slumber that seems almost unnatural at this late hour. What catches David's attention is the driver. His hunched figure is shrouded in shadow, his face obscured by a low-hanging hat. There's something about his stillness that unnerves him, as though the driver has been frozen in time. The bus lurches forward, the engine rumbling like a tired giant. David finds a seat near the back, hoping to catch a glimpse of the familiar streets. But as the minutes pass, he realizes something is terribly wrong. The streets outside seem endless, dark, and eerily silent. And worst of all, he doesn't recognize any of them. Panic starts to rise within him. Where is this bus going? Why does it seem like it's deliberately avoiding the city? He looks at the other passengers, their faces pale and drawn in the dim light, their eyes vacant. Some turn their heads slowly, revealing smiles that are too wide, too sharp, their gazes hollow and unsettling. David feels a shiver crawl up his spine. Who are these people? And why are they staring at him? He tries to brush it off, chalking it up to fatigue and the strangeness of the situation. But deep down, a sense of foreboding settles in his gut. The bus continues its eerie journey, gliding through the silent streets like a ghost ship navigating the darkness. David, trapped in its confines, struggles to keep calm, his anxiety growing with each passing moment. The silence is broken only by the hum of the engine and the soft whispers of the sleeping passengers. It's a symphony of unease that amplifies his growing terror. He needs to get off this bus to break free from the suffocating silence and the unsettling presence of the passengers. But as he scans the bus, he realizes there are no doors, no exits, just rows and rows of vacant seats. His heart pounds in his chest, echoing the relentless rhythm of the engine. Trapped, he thinks, trapped on this ghostly bus hurtling through the shadowy streets. He's caught in a nightmare from which there seems to be no escape. Lost in his panic, David fails to notice the subtle changes in the surroundings. The street signs, if they could be called that, seem to mock him with indecipherable symbols. The buildings, if you could call them that, are crumbling monstrosities that seem straight out of a nightmare. As he looks back at the passengers, he sees a disturbing sight. Their heads have turned as if in unison, their gazes fixed on him. Their smiles are no longer polite, but predatory, their eyes gleaming with a sinister light. In their stillness, he sees a menace, a lurking danger that sends shivers down his spine. David knows he's in grave peril. The bus, the passengers, even the very streets themselves seem to conspire against him. His mind races, trying to make sense of the situation. Is this a nightmare? A hallucination? Or something more sinister? He's not sure. His thoughts are jumbled, his fear paralyzing him. As the bus continues its relentless journey, David's terror reaches a crescendo. The oppressive silence is shattered by the sudden movement of one of the passengers. An old woman rises from her seat, her joints cracking like dry twigs. She shuffles forward, her gaze unwavering, her smile chilling. She reaches the front of the bus, turns, and without a word, steps out into the darkness. Before David can process what he's seeing, the doors hiss open again and the old woman steps back inside. Her form flickering, she disappears, leaving behind only a faint whisper and a sense of overwhelming dread. This surreal scene leaves David shaken to his core. It's as if the boundaries between reality and nightmare have blurred, leaving him stranded in a terrifying twilight zone. He knows he must act fast. The situation is dire, and every moment on the bus brings him closer to an unknown, possibly terrible fate. So, with a surge of adrenaline, he makes his move. He lunges for the doors, desperate to flee. But as he touches the handle, it becomes clear that the way out is sealed. The doors are locked. Panic surges through him. He pounds on the doors, his cries echoing in the confined space, but his pleas go unheard. The bus moves on, plunging him deeper into the labyrinth of fear. As the bus continues its journey, David's desperation grows. He paces, his anxiety palpable. Then he notices something odd, a faint glow emanating from one of the back windows. Hope flickers within him. He rushes to the window, peering out into the darkness. Through the grime, he sees what appears to be a street lamp. It offers a sliver of familiarity in the sea of unfamiliar streets. Mustering his courage, he signals to the driver, who remains impassive, his face still hidden in the shadows. But his efforts are in vain. The bus keeps moving, ignoring his desperate pleas to stop. David, defeated, sinks back into his seat. He understands he is trapped, not just on a bus, but in a terrifying mystery. The questions swirl around him. Where is this bus taking him? Who are the passengers? And most importantly, how can he escape this nightmare? He's alone, trapped in a journey that seems to have no end. And the darkness of the night mirrors the darkness of his situation. Suddenly, the bus slows, rousing David from his thoughts. The driver turns for the first time, revealing a face that's as ghastly as it is chilling. His flesh is rotten, exposing the bone beneath. His eyes, hollow sockets that stare back at David with an unnerving emptiness. David is frozen in fear, unable to comprehend the grotesque visage before him. Before he can react, the doors hiss open and a single word, chillingly illuminated, greets him. Welcome to Afterlife. The driver leans in, his voice a raspy whisper. End of the line, kid. It's your final stop. And with that, he gestures expectantly, his grin widening in a grotesque parody of a smile. David, torn between terror and morbid curiosity, hesitates for a moment. But the sight of the desolate bus stop and the driver's ghastly grin compels him to flee. He jumps out of the bus and sprints into the darkness, desperate to escape the macabre scene. The driver's words echo in his ears, final stop. Is this truly the end for David Miller? Has he reached the end of his journey, not just on this forsaken bus, but in life itself? Or will he find a way to escape this terrifying fate? Will he outrun the horrors that await him at this desolate bus stop? Only time will tell.